Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. There are some dreams that feel too emotional to ignore. Dreams that stay in your heart long after you wake up. Not because they were scary, but because they felt peaceful in a way this dunya rarely feels. Maybe you saw calm water under the night sky. Maybe you saw yourself wearing white, walking towards something beautiful. Maybe you saw a home filled with warmth, or someone you have never met before. Yet somehow your soul felt safe beside them. And ever since that dream, something inside your heart has been quietly asking, why did this feel so real? Because sometimes, before Allah changes your life, He sends softness to your heart first. Before the right person enters your story, Allah often prepares your soul in silence, through loneliness, through healing, through mysterious dreams that arrive after nights of dua and tears nobody else knows about. And maybe these dreams are not random at all. Maybe they are emotional reminders from Allah that your story is still being written beautifully behind the scenes. Because there are people listening tonight who are tired of waiting, tired of heartbreak, tired of wondering if peaceful love will ever reach them. But what if Allah is already bringing your future spouse closer while your soul is only beginning to sense it now? Tonight, we are going to talk about 4 powerful dreams that many people experience before marriage comes near. Dreams that often appear during seasons of loneliness, deep healing, and silent tawakkul. And perhaps one of these dreams has already visited your heart without you fully realizing what it meant. 1. When you dream of calm water. Allah may be quietly preparing your heart for peaceful love. There are people who suddenly begin seeing water in their dreams. Not dangerous water, not storms, but peaceful water. A calm ocean under the night sky, gentle rain falling slowly, a quiet river moving softly, clear lakes shining with light. And the strange thing is, these dreams feel different from normal dreams. They do not leave fear inside the heart. They leave calmness. You wake up feeling lighter, softer, as if something heavy inside you became quiet for a little while. And maybe there is a reason for that, because in Islam, water is often connected to mercy, purification, healing, life. Allah sends water to bring dead al-ardh back to life. And sometimes, He also sends emotional peace to bring tired hearts back to life again, especially hearts that have been carrying pain for a very long time. Maybe you spent years feeling emotionally exhausted, years wondering why love never stayed, why people disappointed you, why your heart kept breaking, while everyone around you seemed happy. Maybe you smiled in front of people, but cried quietly at night. Maybe you made dua many times, asking Allah for someone who would finally bring peace into your life. And after all that emotional pain, these dreams begin appearing. Soft dreams, quiet dreams, dreams filled with water and calmness. Because sometimes Allah allows the soul to feel peace in dreams before peace enters real life. Not because every dream is a direct sign, but because Allah knows when a heart has suffered too much, and before He sends the right person, He often heals the heart first. This is something many people do not understand. They think marriage starts the day 2 people meet, but sometimes marriage begins long before that. It begins the moment Allah starts changing your heart, the moment He removes emotional chaos from inside you, the moment you stop begging people to choose you and start trusting Allah more deeply. The moment your heart slowly becomes softer, healthier, calmer. Because the love written by Allah is not meant to enter a heart filled only with fear and panic. Allah prepares the soul first. And perhaps that is why these dreams feel so emotional. Because for the first time in a long time, your heart is no longer feeling abandoned. It is beginning to feel protected, beginning to feel guided, beginning to feel that something beautiful may still happen. Sometimes the biggest sign that marriage is getting closer is not seeing a person in your dream. It is finally feeling peace again after years of emotional storms. Because before Allah changes your life, He often changes your heart first. 2. Dreaming of white clothing and beautiful gatherings can signal the beginning of a new chapter written by Allah. There are dreams where people suddenly see themselves dressed beautifully, wearing clean white clothing, standing in a peaceful gathering filled with light, preparing for an event that feels important, even though they do not fully understand what it is. Sometimes there are smiling faces around them. Sometimes there are soft lights, beautiful decorations, or a feeling that something special is about to happen. And the strange thing is, these dreams often feel deeply emotional. Not dramatic, not frightening, but soft, meaningful, almost sacred. You wake up feeling something heavy inside your chest, as if your heart felt a moment from the future, then returned back to reality again. And maybe there is a reason for that. Because white clothing has always carried deep emotional meaning. It symbolizes purity, peace, new beginnings, a fresh chapter. And marriage itself is one of the biggest new chapters a person can enter. It changes everything. Your future changes. Your daily life changes. Your routines change. Your responsibilities change. Even your emotional world changes completely. You are no longer walking through life alone. And perhaps that is why these dreams touch the soul so deeply. Because before Allah changes your outer life, He often prepares your inner world first. Long before people see anything happening, Allah is already working quietly inside the heart, healing old wounds, removing old fears, teaching patience, teaching emotional maturity, teaching trust. Because some people ask Allah for marriage while their hearts are still attached to unhealthy love, still broken by the past, still searching for validation from people instead of peace from Allah. But when Allah truly begins preparing someone for a beautiful relationship, something inside them slowly changes. Their heart becomes softer, their connection with Allah becomes deeper, their desperation becomes quieter. And these dreams sometimes appear during that exact season of transformation, a season where the soul is slowly becoming ready for what Allah has already written. That is why many people experience these dreams after long periods of loneliness, after heartbreak, after emotional exhaustion, after nights of crying quietly to Allah. Because perhaps the waiting was never punishment. Perhaps Allah was simply preparing your heart for something too important to arrive at the wrong time. And maybe these dreams are gentle reminders that your current pain is not your final story, that your loneliness is not permanent, that Allah has not forgotten your du'as. Sometimes we think nothing is changing because we cannot see results yet. But Allah often begins changing the unseen before the seen. He changes the soul before the situation, the heart before the relationship. And perhaps that emotional feeling inside these dreams, that nervousness, that softness, that strange sense that something important is near, is the soul quietly sensing that a new chapter written by Allah is slowly approaching. A chapter filled with peace, halal love, companionship, mercy, and the kind of emotional safety your heart has been praying for all along. 3. When someone unknown feels deeply familiar in a dream, your soul may be sensing a love meant to arrive with peace. There are some dreams that feel different from all the others. You wake up, and even though the dream is over, the feeling remains inside your heart. Sometimes you see someone you have never met before, a person whose face may not even be fully clear, yet somehow they feel familiar, safe, comforting, as if your soul already trusts them. And the strange thing is, these dreams usually do not feel intense or chaotic. They feel calm, soft, peaceful. There is no fear inside them, no chasing, no emotional confusion, only a quiet feeling of connection that stays in the heart long after you wake up. And maybe that feeling matters more than people realize, because many people spend years experiencing relationships that only bring anxiety, overthinking, emotional pain, uncertainty. They become so used to chaos that they begin believing chaos is what love feels like. But often, the love written by Allah feels very different. It does not constantly disturb your peace. It does not make your heart feel emotionally unsafe. It does not pull you away from Allah. Instead, it brings calmness, Sakinah, safety. And perhaps that is why these dreams feel so powerful emotionally. Because maybe Allah is allowing your heart to experience a small glimpse of peaceful love before it arrives in real life. Not to make you obsessed with dreams, not to make you search for signs everywhere, but to heal the way you understand love itself. Because some hearts have been hurt so deeply, they no longer know what gentle love feels like. They only know attachment, fear of losing people, fear of abandonment, fear of being alone forever. But the person written by Allah is not meant to enter your life like a storm that destroys your emotional peace. The right love often arrives quietly, naturally, with emotional comfort instead of emotional panic. And maybe these dreams appear during the exact season when Allah is teaching your heart that real love should feel safe, not painful, Sometimes people wake up from these dreams and feel emotional the entire day, not because they are obsessed with the person in the dream, but because the dream awakens something deeper: hope, warmth, the feeling that maybe they are not forgotten after all. Maybe someone truly meant for them still exists somewhere in this world. And perhaps while you are worrying about whether love will ever find you, Allah is already preparing both hearts in silence, changing you, changing them, guiding both souls slowly toward the moment written in Qadr long before either of you were born. That is why some dreams feel almost impossible to explain, because the soul understands feelings the mind cannot fully describe. And maybe, just maybe, Allah allows certain dreams to comfort the heart during lonely seasons, so it does not lose hope completely, especially after heartbreak, after betrayal, after nights where you questioned your worth. Because Allah knows exactly how tired some hearts have become, and before He sends the right person, He sometimes sends reassurance first, a soft reminder that peaceful love still exists, that not every connection is meant to break you, that one day someone may enter your life and bring the kind of calmness your heart has secretly been praying for all along. And perhaps the most beautiful part of these dreams is not the person you saw, it is the peace you felt while they were beside you, because maybe that peace itself is the real sign your heart has been needing. 4. Dreams of open doors. New roads and beautiful homes often appear before Allah changes your life completely. There are dreams where people suddenly see doors opening in front of them, large, beautiful doors, bright hallways, long, peaceful roads, or homes they have never seen before, yet somehow feel emotionally connected to. Sometimes the dream feels so real that after waking up, the heart cannot stop thinking about it, not because of fear, but because something inside the soul feels moved by it. You feel as if the dream carried a message deeper than words. And maybe there is a reason for that, because spiritually, doors often symbolize new beginnings, new chapters, a transition from one life into another. And marriage is exactly that. It is not just meeting a person, it is stepping into a completely different life Allah has written for you. A new emotional world, a new future, a new responsibility, a new form of companionship. And perhaps that is why these dreams feel so powerful emotionally, because many people have spent years feeling stuck, emotionally tired, waiting for life to finally move forward, waiting for something beautiful to happen, waiting for Allah to open the door they have been praying for in silence. Maybe you watched others get married while your own heart kept waiting. Maybe there were nights you wondered if your story would ever arrive, if love would ever feel peaceful for you, if Allah had forgotten your du'as. But Allah never forgets. Not one tear, not one lonely night, not one silent prayer whispered after midnight. And sometimes, before Allah changes your reality, He allows the soul to sense movement first. That is why people dream about roads, journeys, open spaces, new homes, because deep inside, the soul may already feel that life is slowly changing direction, even if the eyes cannot see it yet. And perhaps the most beautiful part of these dreams is the feeling attached to them: peace, warmth, hope, a strange emotional certainty that something is finally opening after a long season of waiting, because some doors stay closed, not to punish you, but to protect you until the right moment arrives. Allah knows what would have broken you if it came too early. He knows the people you were not emotionally ready for. He knows the timing that would have damaged your peace instead of protecting it. So while you thought your life was delayed, Allah was preparing your heart quietly, teaching you lessons, healing old wounds, building emotional maturity, strengthening your connection with Him. Because the right marriage is not only about finding the right person, it is also about becoming the right version of yourself before they arrive. And maybe these dreams appear during the exact season where Allah is finally opening a new chapter for your life, a chapter your heart has been praying for without even realizing it. Sometimes people also dream about entering beautiful homes, homes filled with light, warmth, comfort, and emotionally, that matters deeply, because home is not just a building. Home is peace, safety, belonging, and perhaps Allah allows the heart to feel those emotions in dreams, because the soul has been craving emotional safety for a very long time. After heartbreak, after loneliness, after disappointment, the heart becomes tired. It no longer wants temporary connections. It wants peace, real peace, the kind of peace that feels like finally arriving somewhere safe after being emotionally lost for years. And maybe, just maybe, these dreams are quiet reminders that Allah is still writing something beautiful for you behind the scenes, even now, even during your waiting, even during your loneliness. Because while you are wondering when your life will finally change, Allah may already be opening doors you cannot see yet, preparing meetings you know nothing about, guiding two paths slowly toward each other through perfect divine timing. And one day, you may look back at these dreams and realize they were not random at all. They were moments where your soul quietly felt that a new chapter written by Allah was getting closer and closer with every passing day. 5. The real sign is not just the dream. It is the softness and hope returning to your heart again. Sometimes the biggest sign is not the dream itself. It is the feeling that remains inside you after you wake up. The quiet softness in your heart, the unexpected peace, the small return of hope you thought had disappeared forever. Because there are people who spent years emotionally exhausted, years carrying heartbreak nobody truly understood, years pretending they were okay, while secretly feeling empty inside. They prayed for love, prayed for companionship, prayed for someone who would finally bring peace into their life. But after so many disappointments, their hearts slowly became tired, cold, guarded. They stopped expecting beautiful things to happen anymore. And maybe that is why these emotional dreams feel so powerful. Because suddenly, after months or even years of emotional heaviness, something changes inside the heart. Not loudly, not dramatically, but softly, quietly. You begin feeling lighter again. You begin smiling without forcing it. You stop feeling hopeless every single night. You stop obsessing over why your life looks delayed compared to everyone else. And for the first time in a long time, your heart starts trusting Allah again, instead of only fearing disappointment. This matters more than people realize, because sometimes Allah does not send the blessing immediately. He first heals the heart that will receive it. And many people ask Allah for marriage while their hearts are still deeply wounded, still attached to the past, still desperate for validation, still searching for someone to save them emotionally. But the love written by Allah is not meant to become another source of emotional destruction. It is meant to enter a heart that has slowly learned peace, a heart that no longer worships attention from people, a heart that no longer believes love must hurt to be real. And perhaps that is why Allah changes your inner world before changing your outer life. Because inner peace is part of the preparation. Some people think preparation for marriage only means money, stability, a career. But emotional preparation matters too. The ability to trust again, the ability to love without fear controlling everything, the ability to feel calm instead of constantly anxious. And maybe these dreams appear during the exact season when Allah is slowly returning softness to your soul. That is why after certain dreams, people notice strange emotional changes. They become calmer, more patient, more emotionally balanced. The desperation slowly disappears. The constant panic about when becomes quieter. And deep inside, the heart starts feeling that maybe Allah's timing is wiser than its own. Maybe the delay was not rejection. Maybe the waiting was protection. Because there are people who would have entered marriage too early with a broken heart and turned love into emotional dependency instead of peace. But Allah knows the right timing for every soul. He knows when your heart is finally becoming healthy enough to receive what He has written. And perhaps that is why these dreams are often followed by emotional healing, not instant marriage, not immediate answers, but healing, hope, softness, a return to emotional life after years of inner exhaustion. And honestly, sometimes that healing itself is already a miracle, because there are hearts that became so tired, they forgot what peace even felt like. They forgot how it feels to wake up with hope instead of sadness, to feel emotionally safe instead of emotionally abandoned. But Allah can change a heart completely. In one season, He can remove years of heaviness. He can replace fear with trust, pain with softness, restlessness with Sakinah. And maybe the most beautiful part of all this is realizing that Allah was taking care of your heart even during the seasons you thought nothing was happening, even during the waiting, even during the loneliness, even during the silent nights where nobody knew how much you were struggling inside. Because while you thought Allah was delaying your story, He may have been healing your soul for the kind of love that finally brings peace instead of pain. And perhaps the real sign that your future is changing is not only what you see in dreams, it is the fact that your heart is finally beginning to feel alive again. 6. Allah often sends these emotional dreams during the loneliest nights of your life for a reason. One of the most mysterious things about these dreams is that they often appear during the loneliest seasons of life. Not during happiness, not when life feels exciting and complete, but during quiet nights, heavy nights, nights where the heart feels emotionally tired in ways nobody else can see. Sometimes these dreams appear after you cry silently to Allah, after tahajjud, after making dua with a heart that feels exhausted from waiting. And maybe that is not a coincidence, because loneliness changes a person deeply. It strips away distractions. It exposes wounds the heart was hiding for years. It forces you to sit with emotions you kept running from. And although loneliness feels painful, sometimes Allah uses it to prepare the soul for something greater. There are people who only became closer to Allah because they experienced loneliness, only learned Tawakkul because they had nobody left to depend on emotionally, only discovered inner peace after life removed the people they thought they needed the most. And maybe that is why these dreams often arrive during lonely seasons. Because when the world becomes quiet, the soul becomes easier to reach. The heart becomes softer, more emotionally open, more sensitive to comfort from Allah. Sometimes during busy seasons of life, people are too distracted to notice what their soul truly needs. Too distracted by attention, people, social media, temporary emotional attachments. But loneliness slows everything down. It forces the heart to face itself. And while painful, that process often transforms a person spiritually and emotionally. That is why many people experience these emotional dreams after heartbreak, after separation, after disappointment, because suffering changes the heart, not always negatively. Sometimes it purifies it. Sometimes it teaches the soul what truly matters. And perhaps Allah allows these dreams to arrive during difficult nights because He knows exactly how close some hearts are to losing hope. There are people listening to this right now who smile during the day but feel deeply alone at night. People who wonder if they will ever experience peaceful love. People who are tired of pretending they are emotionally okay. People who secretly fear that maybe marriage will never happen for them. But Allah sees every hidden feeling, every silent tear, every lonely dua whispered in darkness. And perhaps some dreams are not meant to predict the future at all. Perhaps they are meant to comfort the heart during the journey toward it. A soft reminder from Allah that you are not forgotten, that your story is still unfolding even when life feels still. That delay does not mean abandonment, because one of the hardest parts of loneliness is feeling invisible, feeling like your prayers are disappearing into silence, feeling like everyone else's life is moving while yours remains stuck. But Allah never ignores sincere hearts. Never. Even when nothing around you seems to change, Allah may already be changing things you cannot yet see, preparing meetings, opening doors, guiding someone slowly toward you while you are still crying over the delay. And perhaps your soul senses that movement before your eyes do. That is why some dreams feel so emotional, because deep inside, the heart wants reassurance. It wants hope. It wants to know that this painful season will not last forever. And maybe Allah allows certain dreams to become a source of emotional mercy during the nights where the soul feels weakest, not to make you obsessed with signs, but to keep your heart from drowning in hopelessness. Because hopeless hearts stop making dua. They stop expecting beauty from Allah. They stop believing their story can still change. But Allah can change a life completely in one moment. One meeting, one conversation, one door opening at the exact time written in Qadr. And maybe right now, while you are feeling lonely, Allah is preparing you emotionally for the kind of love that arrives with peace instead of pain. Maybe the waiting season is teaching you lessons your future self will desperately need one day. Lessons about patience, emotional maturity, trust, self-respect, dependence on Allah instead of dependence on people. And perhaps one day, you will look back at these lonely nights differently, not as punishment, but as the season where Allah quietly rebuilt your heart before giving it something beautiful to hold. Because sometimes the most important transformations happen in silence, in loneliness, in the unseen places where only Allah knows how much the soul has been struggling. And maybe that is why these dreams arrive so gently, like mercy entering a tired heart, like Allah softly reminding you, your story is not over yet. 7. The love written by Allah does not destroy your peace. It arrives with Sakinah, safety, and emotional calm. One of the saddest things many people experience is confusing emotional chaos with love. They think love must hurt to be real. They think constant anxiety means deep connection. They think overthinking all night, crying over someone, losing their peace for someone is proof that the relationship matters. But often, that is not love. That is emotional attachment mixed with fear. Because real love, the kind written by Allah, does not constantly destroy the heart. It does not pull you away from your peace. It does not leave you emotionally unstable every single day. The love written by Allah carries Sakinah, a calmness that settles inside the soul, a feeling of emotional safety, a connection that protects your heart instead of exhausting it. And perhaps that is why many of these dreams feel so peaceful, because Allah may be slowly teaching your heart what healthy love actually feels like. Not obsession, not emotional addiction, not fear of abandonment, but peace, gentleness, mercy. There are people who spent years chasing relationships that only brought confusion. One day they felt loved, the next day they felt abandoned. One moment they felt chosen, the next moment they felt ignored. And slowly, their heart became addicted to emotional instability. They started believing calm love must be boring, because chaos became familiar. But what if the heart was never meant to live in constant emotional fear? What if love was supposed to feel safe? What if Allah created marriage to become a place of tranquility instead of emotional suffering? Because in Islam, love is not meant to destroy your connection with Allah. It is meant to strengthen it. The right person helps your soul feel closer to peace, closer to emotional balance, closer to Allah Himself. And maybe that is why Allah removes certain people from your life before bringing the right person closer. Because some relationships only teach attachment, while others teach peace. Some connections drain the soul completely, while others feel like emotional shelter after years of storms. And perhaps these dreams appear because Allah is slowly healing your understanding of love, teaching your heart that real love does not require you to lose yourself. You should not have to beg constantly to feel valued. You should not have to destroy your mental peace just to keep someone close. You should not feel emotionally terrified every day in the name of love. Because the love written by Allah comes with clarity, with emotional safety, with sincerity, and even if life still has challenges, the relationship itself becomes a source of comfort instead of emotional confusion. That is why some dreams leave people feeling calm after waking up, because maybe the soul briefly experienced the kind of peaceful connection it has secretly been longing for all along. A connection without emotional games, without manipulation, without constant fear. Just calmness, just warmth, just emotional peace. And honestly, many hearts listening to this do not even realize how tired they are. Tired of unstable emotions, tired of pretending painful relationships are romantic, tired of loving people who only leave confusion behind. But Allah did not create your heart to live in endless emotional suffering. And perhaps before He sends the right person, He first teaches your soul to stop accepting love that destroys your peace. Because once the heart learns what peace feels like, it becomes harder to settle for emotional chaos again. That is why healing matters. That is why loneliness sometimes matters. That is why Allah allows certain endings to happen. Not because He wants to punish you, but because He wants your future love story to be built on peace instead of pain. And maybe one of the biggest signs that Allah is preparing your heart for something beautiful is that you no longer crave chaos the way you once did. You no longer want relationships that make you lose yourself. You no longer want attention that costs your emotional stability. Instead, you begin wanting something softer, something halal, something peaceful, something that feels safe enough for the soul to finally rest. And perhaps that quiet emotional shift is already part of Allah preparing your heart for the love written specifically for you. A love that arrives with mercy, with sincerity, with emotional calmness, the kind of love where your heart finally stops surviving and starts feeling at peace again. 8. While you are wondering when love will arrive, Allah may already be bringing your future spouse closer in silence. Sometimes the hardest part of waiting is feeling like nothing is happening. You make dua, you try to stay patient, you try to trust Allah, but deep inside, there are nights where the heart quietly asks, when will my story finally begin? When will my loneliness end? When will the right person finally enter my life? And perhaps the most painful feeling of all is watching time move while your own heart still feels stuck in the same place. You see other people getting married, building families, finding companionship, and sometimes, without meaning to, your heart begins wondering if maybe love was written for everyone except you. But Allah does not forget anyone. Not one sincere heart, not one tear, not one silent prayer whispered during tahajjud, and maybe what your eyes cannot see yet. Allah is already arranging in the unseen, because Allah works silently, quietly, perfectly. While people think nothing is changing, Allah may already be moving pieces of your future into place, changing hearts, opening doors, removing people who were never meant to stay, protecting you from connections that would have destroyed your peace later, preparing another soul somewhere in this world whose path is slowly being guided toward yours. And perhaps that is why some dreams feel so emotional, because deep inside, the soul senses movement before life visibly changes. The heart begins feeling that something is getting closer, even if the mind cannot explain why. That strange feeling after certain dreams, that softness, that hope, that emotional calmness, maybe it is not random at all. Maybe Allah is reassuring your heart during the waiting season, because sometimes Allah gives signs of emotional preparation before He gives the actual blessing, not to make you obsessed with dreams, but to stop your heart from drowning in hopelessness. There are people listening right now who feel emotionally exhausted from waiting, people who have prayed for love for years, people who stayed halal while watching others take shortcuts, people who protected their hearts even when loneliness became heavy. And sometimes, those people quietly wonder if their patience will ever be rewarded. But Allah sees every sacrifice nobody else notices, every lonely night you stayed strong, every temptation you walked away from, every moment you chose sabr instead of haram comfort. And Allah never wastes sincere patience. Never. Even if the answer arrives slowly, even if the road feels longer than expected. Because what Allah writes with wisdom arrives at the exact moment the soul truly needs it. Not too early, not too late. And maybe right now, while you are worrying about whether your future spouse exists, Allah is already preparing both of you in separate places, teaching both hearts lessons, healing both souls from past pain, building emotional maturity, strengthening iman, because the right relationship is not only about attraction, it is also about timing, readiness, spiritual alignment. And perhaps that is why Allah sometimes delays beautiful things, not because He wants to hurt you, but because rushed blessings can become painful. If the heart is not ready yet, sometimes Allah waits until your heart becomes softer, wiser, more emotionally healthy, because the person written for you deserves the healed version of you, not only the broken version created by pain. And maybe one day you will realize that the waiting season changed you completely. It made you stronger, closer to Allah, more emotionally mature, more grateful, more aware of what truly matters. And perhaps when the right person finally enters your life, you will understand why Allah allowed all the delays before them, because some love stories only make sense after the waiting ends. And maybe tonight, while you are listening to this, your future is already moving toward you in ways you cannot see yet. A meeting is being written, the conversation is being arranged, a door is quietly opening somewhere beyond your understanding, because qadr is always moving, even when life feels still. And maybe the most beautiful part of all this is realizing that Allah has been taking care of your heart the entire time, even during your loneliness, even during your confusion, even during the nights where you thought nothing beautiful would ever happen for you again. Because the one who placed the desire for peaceful love inside your heart is fully capable of bringing it into your life at the perfect time. So do not lose hope now, not after surviving everything you already survived. Your story is not late. Your story is being written by Allah. And when the moment finally arrives, you will realize that every lonely night, every emotional dream, every tear, and every moment of waiting was leading your heart exactly where it was always meant to go. And maybe tonight, after hearing all of this, your heart feels a little softer than before, a little calmer, a little more hopeful. Maybe for the first time in a long time, you are starting to believe that your story is not forgotten, that your waiting has meaning, that your loneliness was never empty in the sight of Allah. Because sometimes, before Allah changes your life, He sends quiet comfort to your soul first. A dream, a feeling, a strange peace that appears in the middle of emotional exhaustion, not to tell you every detail of the future, but to remind you that He is still writing it, beautifully, carefully, perfectly. So if your heart has been tired from waiting, do not let hopelessness enter it now. The same Allah who protected you from what was wrong is fully capable of bringing you what is right. And perhaps one day, the person you have been praying for will sit beside you while you both smile about the lonely nights you once cried through alone. Perhaps one day, the heart that feels heavy tonight will finally feel at peace. And perhaps one day, you will realize that every delay carried hidden mercy you could not yet understand. Because Allah does not forget sincere hearts. He does not ignore silent du'as. And He knows exactly how much love your soul can carry and exactly when to send it. So continue trusting Him. Continue protecting your heart. Continue making du'a, even on the nights where hope feels difficult. Because what Allah writes for you never misses you. And what is meant for your soul will arrive at the exact moment your heart is finally ready to receive it. May Allah bring peace to every lonely heart listening. May He heal every soul carrying hidden sadness. And may He bless you with a love that brings you closer to Him, fills your life with Sakinah, and protects your heart instead of breaking it. Ameen. If this reminder touched your heart, write Ameen in the comments. And subscribe to Deenpedia for more peaceful Islamic reminders about love, healing, destiny, and the mercy of Allah.